Thank you for staying with us. And the conversation this morning, it's about a call, a clarion call by a group of people, eminent men and women. They are called the Patriots. You know, people who have different experiences, different backgrounds, who have worked and garnered experiences from different, spheres of life. And they have come together, to say Nigeria must work. And they have a proposal. Of course, there was a time they visited the president, led by the chairman, former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Sir Emeka Anyoko. He visited the president months ago. And, he made a position then about how Nigeria can really do better. And chief among what is said was the fact that Nigeria, he met President Tinubu then, with a high-powered delegation to say we need a brand new constitution, fresh one. The amendments can't do anything, and that what we need is a brand new one. The one he referred to it that will be a people's constitution. There will be a referendum and all of those things. There will be proposals that will form a real Nigeria people's constitution. And 9 months ago, but many persons at that time, feel, is that really necessary? What will be the workings? Can it be done? It's a constitutional issue. So when the constitution is suspended or, jettisoned, what do we use in the interim? Or, okay, will there be plans for all these things when it's going on? How will it be done? Will there be public meetings? Will there be town hall meetings? Will the National Assembly members be ready for all of these things? How popular, was and is that call as well? And they have a lot of proposals there. And, we have with us today to, make more clearer that particular proposal and other things, by, the Patriots. And part of the Patriots, these eminent people, we have Olanipekun, that's Wole Olanipekun, Olisa Agbakoba, these are eminent senior advocates of Nigeria, Mr. Kurumu, Baba Ahmed, among others. They are part of the people that are expected to lead that discussion. The Patriots, they are the all-inclusive pan-Nigeria group, and they have released part of a detailed program for its forthcoming national conference, designed to evolve an acceptable constitutional framework for the country. Now, the document contained names of legal luminaries, statesmen, and other professionals drawn across the country as speakers and lead discussants at the seminar coming up between June 11 and 13. That will be next week in Abuja. That's the FCT. And the summit, the organizer have said, is being put together, of course, by the Patriots, just like I said earlier. And the group of elder statesmen and leaders of thought across the country to fast-track the process of producing a constitution based on the peculiarities of the country. And the chairman of the Patriot is a former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyoko. And according to that document, a legal luminary, Chief Olisa Agbakoba, is to lead discussion on the legal and legitimate constitution at the summit. And the list of the topics and speakers released by the Secretariat of the Summit at the weekend showed that the former NBA chairman, president rather, will speak on a sub-theme under the topic political reform. So there is a lot to really talk about. But then let's take a listen to what the Patriots said when they visited the president months ago. With our guest, and we will continue the conversation when he's there. But for now, let's take a quick break. Be back. All right, thank you for staying with us. As I said earlier when introducing the topic, the Patriots a few months ago visited the president and they told him of their mission that Nigeria must work, and they feel the biggest way and the proper way to handle it is constitutionally, and they feel the constitution as we currently have, irrespective of how many times it has been amended, cannot work. And Nigeria needs a brand new people's constitution, not the ones done by few people, the ones that every part of the country will have their say and will truly represent the yearnings and the reality, of our people, especially the heterogeneous nature of Nigeria. The Southwest chairman of the Patriots, he's with us, on this program, and we will be speaking with him, Magaji Boyega Adejuma. He has been a World Bank consultant and an Ibadan High Chief. Thank you for joining us, Oloye. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Well, I'm sorry for the technical itch. I still believe that we can get something out of a situation we're both trying to manage.
All right.
So that we can get the information out to our people.
That's right. And Magaji, the Patriots, your Patriots, visited the president, led by, the chairman, the national chairman now, Sai Mekan Yoko. And, he made his position of months ago that this is what Nigeria truly needs. And I understand the work is on. There will be a meeting to address all of those things, in the coming days. Let us into it. Why the Patriot thinks jettisoning the 1999 Constitution as we currently have and having a brand new one is what will fix Nigeria.
If we are to be so sincere to ourselves and to be sincere to each and every one of us, the major problem we have is about the 1999 Constitution. That is perhaps the source of all our problems. And I will explain how that problem of the 1999 Constitution is affecting each and every one. First and foremost, it is not an equitable document, in which case it does not serve each and every part of the federating units in such a way as to bring a sense of belonging to all of us. The Constitution is skewed towards a certain part of the country, and certain tendencies have taken over to make it look like we do not have a document that can give us the most important piece and the most important development that will make for nationhood. First and foremost, it was not drawn by the people. It was given to us by the military. And what the military did, perhaps out of omission or commission, is to hastily draw up a document by Yadudu, Professor Yadudu, perhaps in cahoots with a few others. But all they did was just to bring forth a document that does not represent the interests of the various federating units. And all that can be seen in all the various issues and challenges we've been facing. We've been facing the challenges of economic distribution, which of course has not allowed for every federating unit to be able to take care or take charge or take hold of the matters that affect them economically. All that we have seen is the imbalance in the distribution of what I will call the Commonwealth, which does not in any way reflect true federalism. True federalism will mean that in Yoruba, Allah, ni o fi oko ole han. True federalism is about competition. True federalism is about each unit working hard, not really carrying a bowl to Abuja every month to, receive whatever is coming from the federal government allocation. That is not what happens in true federalism. That is actually an element of a unitary kind of system, in which case you might have all the federating units behaving in the way and manner that the Yoruba would describe as Ogata, Ogaota, Owo Alaru Ape. Whether you work hard in your own zone or in your own state or not, you are sure to go to Abuja every month to collect something. That is not true federalism. Like I said, it is about Allah. If I own my land, and of course there's going to be perimeters, and after my perimeter, it is yet another person's land. So if I work on my land and I produce enough, and I can even sell, it will all depend on the aspect which is so important to federalism, and that is finding that strength within every zone, finding the right type of people within every zone, finding the right type of personnel to drive growth, just like we had in the First Republic. The First Republic, we had the Western region that was described as having the fastest growth in the world from any region. So that is why you will see the imbalance. And some people who don't know how to generate funds, they don't know how to generate growth. All they know how to do is spend the money simply because they have not worked for it. And that is to say that for others who have worked for it, it is a case of baboon they walk, monkey they chop. So we need to go back to that which promotes what we call healthy competition. We cannot de-emphasize that aspect of the Constitution, which of course is bad.
All right.
And part of what is wrong, again, is the unequal distribution of seats. If we are going to go by what happened in 1914, what happened in 1914 was the amalgamation of the North and the South. But if you want to go by that, even as at that time, we had a South that was very prosperous. But does that reflect in today's Nigeria? And would we even say that even the North that was producing all the granules and everything, and even solid minerals of the First Republic, what has happened to those? And what has happened to us in the Southwest when we had the agricultural produce? We had cocoa and every other thing. Ever before we had oil. There was in Nigeria which did not have oil until 1970. Well, we did not get anything from oil until 1973. And we fought a war without even borrowing one kobo. So what happened to the fact that we are blessed in this country, the only country that has more solid minerals, more resources, perhaps natural resources than us, is the DR Congo. But it is just going to happen that Nigeria, that is the second most endowed country in the whole of Africa, is suffering from serious economical issues. Economic issues are one. What we would forever refer to as the major issue confronting us today, which is insecurity, is still part of that problem of the 1999 Constitution. We had the 1963 Constitution that allowed the local government to have their police. But here we are in the year of the Lord 2025, and we don't have even the state police. And in the Southwest, with all our ingenuity, We were able to bring out Amotekun, but the Amotekun itself, even by this same constitution, is not allowed to carry arms. There are too many defects of this constitution. Like I said, all the problems, the source of all the problems that we have is this 1999 constitution.
All right, Mogaji.
So, yes.
All right, Mogaji, just before you proceed, the Patriots is a group of elder statesmen, Nigerians, concerned Nigerians, led by Chief Emeka Nyoku. You also have quite a number of legal luminaries in the Patriots, talking about people like Odisa Agbakoba, Femi Falana, and many others who are senior advocates of Nigeria. As part of the activities of your summit, talking about the Patriots now, Odisa Agbakoba will be speaking on the theme, actualizing a new democratic constitution for Nigeria, legal and legitimate procedures. Now, talking about legitimacy, Mogaji, my question is, how legitimate is this group, the Patriots? And how do you intend to go about this? Talking about, proposing a new constitution for Nigeria. Here's what I mean. During the time of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, he came up with the idea of the confab, the national confab. And sincerely, nothing really came out of it. So how effective do you see this Patriot thing? How far do you see it going? What efforts, what measures are you putting in place to ensure that your work does not just end up in futility?
Well, thank you so much for that question. If we look at what has happened over the years, even the effort to change the constitution effectively started in 1991. When Akaba Shonu actually said we must have a people-oriented constitution. And the fallout of that was the 1988 Constituent Assembly that produced the 1989 constitution. And some still felt it was not good enough. Even at that 1991, we were looking forward to the Third Republic that we thought Babangida was going to back. So the idea of having a people's-oriented constitution didn't start today. But when we were given the 1999 constitution, everything simply went south. And like you said, there were attempts. Even Obasanjo made that attempt to change certain parts of the constitution. President Jonathan was convinced that this constitution was not good enough. That's why we had the 2014 confab, in which even the Southwest went there and argued for regionalism. And we got that in the 2014 constitution. Sorry, the 2014 confab. We got that, which is about regionalism, and even certain aspects of the system to be changed to parliamentary system were achieved in the 2014 confab. But of course, we all know what happened thereafter. What the Patriots group is doing is akin to what happened in 1963. Everybody would want to talk about that 1963 because it continues to show us that we can do it. The 1963 Constitution, some people will say, is even the very best that has been produced. Yet, it was not produced by the colonial government. It was produced by us, by the indigenous Nigerians, who did not even have a national confab, that did not even have a national conference. It was simply about a select group from each of the 4 regions, as it stood at that time, because the Midwest region had joined, that sat down and said, let us have a truly representative constitution. They didn't go with all the flair of having to set up the Constituent Assembly and to invite everybody to Lagos, as it were at that time. And no, that's not what they did. They did something close to Magna Carta. They did something close to how the First and the Fifth Amendment came about in America. So people sat together and decided, this is what we want to do. They came up with proposals from each of the 4 regions, and they merged them. And that was the beginning of how the 1963 Constitution came to be. And that's exactly what we are trying to do at the Patriots Group level. Let me explain what we are trying to do. The legitimacy you mentioned is exactly what we went for first and foremost. What the Patriots group did was to say that we should have the Patriots group well entrenched in every zone, and we have 6 zones. And I was appointed the chair for the Southwest Zone. We have Professor Maxwell Gidado for the Northeast. We had Dr. Mero from the Middle Belt. We had eminent Nigerians that they were appointed to head each of the zones on behalf of the Patriots group. And then, of course, we now went through the process of getting the right type of people to be in that committee for each zone. In the Southwest Zone, we had people like Dr. Fakunda, Mr. Kayode Samuel, Dr. Dadere Midesalu, MS Funke Awolowo, Mrs. Adeneke Olujembola. We had people like that were handpicked, and we all sat down as the members of the Southwest of the Patriots group to now draw a series of events and what to do. So what we did was we had a town hall meeting, and we called eminent people from the Southwest. We called lawyers, we called other professionals, we called constitutional lawyers, we called groups. We invited actually 14 groups, and we had the YCE, the YEC, we had the Ferry, we had OPC, we had Agbekoya even, we had Yoruba Support Group, we had Yoruba Vanguard, we had Yoruba United. So we called people, and then we invited individuals like Chief Ni Akintola, SAN, and that's the man that when we had the 2017 Ibadan Declaration, raised the motion that it is either restructuring or nothing for us in the Southwest. So we had people like AIG, Tunji Alapini retired. We had quite an array of eminent people from the Southwest. So we met in Lagos on the 22nd of May, and we deliberated on what to do forward. And then a committee was set up to principally draw what will be the Yoruba document, the Yoruba proposal, the Yoruba stand, the agreed Yoruba position on this 1999 Constitution. Mainly, we've had the Southwest position drawn since 1994, when Papa Adesanya was the leader. And then, of course, we had to work on that when we were going for the 2014 confab. And we still worked on it when we had the Ibadan Declaration. So we worked on it again, knowing fully well that everything is dynamic. So now we've been able to produce that document that the Southwest will take to the National Summit coming up in July in Abuja.
All right. Now, when Chief Emeka Anyaoku visited the president months ago, he said some things, and I will allow our viewers, to remember that, or to have, a look at what he said and the response of Mr. President as well. So please stay with us.
And the deliberations of the Constituent Assembly should take into full account the 1960 and 63 constitutions, as well as the recommendations of the 2014 National Conference, and indeed of the various other national conferences that considered the Nigerian Constitution.
I'm still preoccupied with thinking and tinkering with the economic reform. That's my first priority. Once I get that reform in place as soon as possible, then I look at other options. The option of constitutional review, as recommended by you, and other options of learned minds in this country should take into account the need for our nation to make progress.
All right, thank you for staying with us. That was what Mr. President said, you know, as a response to Saimi Kanyoku's proposal. He said, I'm still busy. That was a few months ago. Now, two questions for me. You know, Oloye Mogaji. Now, first one, this particular proposal of a brand new constitution, the one you have called People's Constitution, is it, how did you come by this? Is it a product of research, really? Because this is on a national scale, this is the working document that will guide the rest of us and for generations to come until they choose to do otherwise. Is the most important thing as far as law and order is concerned. How did you come by this? That's number one. And number two, some will say even the biggest of democracy, you know, as we currently have, the US, have been having amendment and amendment and amendment. Why do you think Nigeria needs this? Two questions.
Well, first and foremost, how did we come by the National Summit in such a way as to believe that that is what we need now? Is that the question? Is that the first question? Yes. Now, it is evident that we've been trying to tinker with that 1999 Constitution for so many years and we've not been able to do anything. Let's face it. We've had many proposals. Even yesterday, the Speaker of the House of Representatives was talking about additional states. The truth is, we don't need statism. We don't need statism for now. We don't need to have more states. The ones that we have, are they even viable? Those who are there at the National Assembly, who are they representing? And again, why would somebody want to believe that in spite of all our economic troubles, it is to add more to it by creating more states? And you see, how did we come by the People's Constitution? It is because the people have spoken. The people of the Middle Belt are crying out for help because they are being inundated every day by terrorism. Terrorists have practically taken over about 180 villages in the Middle Belt. And as I'm talking to you, we even have terrorists in Kogi State. And information is reaching some of us that they are moving towards Ekiti State. Why is it so difficult for the terror that started in one part of the nation who have been eradicated? It started from Borno, so to say, but today it is in Kogi, it is in everywhere. 3/4 of the land of Niger State, which is the largest state in terms of land space, about 70,000 square meters. It has been taken over by these terrorists. And we are saying that the army, the security agencies are so stretched. So we need to have this conversation because the people, the real people, not these people who are in Abuja, who are probably only representing themselves.
If I'm about this particular instance that you just gave, how will a brand new constitution fix that?
Exactly. Thank you for that question. What we're trying to do with this new constitution is to say we must have policing and military, just like we have in places like America. We must have policing right from the local government. We must have policing even in the cities, separate police for each city. We must have policing for the state. And apart from that, we must have militias for the zones. And it is so easy to see how that will work.
All right. All right.
There was a terror situation that happened somewhere in Akoko And when we got there, it was only 2 policemen that we found, and they didn't even have guns.
All right, Bogaji. All right, just before you proceed, you've spoken extensively on the agenda of the Southwest, on your goals and aspirations, how you've put yourself together since 2014, made your proposal and submission at the National Confab then, and you're doing the same thing right now. You've really organized yourself. Again, don't you see that the Patriots, we have a tall order, because other regions of the country, I mean, we have 6 geopolitical zones here, we have 5 other regions with different goals and aspirations. How do you intend to harmonize all the goals and aspirations of all the other regions to come up with a single document? Don't you see that as a tall order that might take some time? That's number one. And number two, going back, referring to my previous question, is there any guarantee that what you're doing, because we've seen several attempts that you rightly mentioned as well, several attempts to change this constitution just ended in futility. Nothing came out of it, including the last confab, national confab we had in 2014. So the question is, what guarantees do you have that this again, that your efforts, your lofty ideas, your goals and aspirations will not end up in futility again, just like the previous ones?
Well, thank you so very much. First and foremost, us chairmen from each zone, we meet every week. We share among each other what our people are saying. We are gathering information. They are gathering information. And you'll be surprised that what we are doing in our own zone is akin to what every other zone is trying to do, because preservation of life is the most important thing. And after that comes the economic situation that everybody wants to have improved. And the same kind of ideas that we have in the Southwest is what they have even in the Northeast. The same kind of ideas we have in the Southeast is the same they have in the Northwest. Let us face it, everybody wants to survive, first and foremost. And nobody is happy with what is going on. And how do we survive? So it is going to be about the fact that President Jonathan said something which every other president has tried to equal, that there are Boko Haram and terrorists even in government. So we have those who have this personal interest, selfish interest to continue with terror. And that is not exactly what the people want. It's just about some select few, some elite who just want to continue to gain from what is going on. So the people are saying, no, we don't want such. We want to take over the affairs of our own region, of our own state, and we want to administer it in such a way as to banish poverty, as to stop right from the source who are actually festering terror, among other things. So we meet, us chairmen, we meet. We are still going to meet tomorrow. Well, we meet like 2 or 3 times a week, and we compare notes, and we are all in sync about something, and that is we want to free our people, and we want to get the very best of governance down to the level of the common man in the villages.
Okay, all right, Bogaji. Talk about the second part.
The second question.
Absolutely,
The second question is, how do we hope to get it done?
Yeah. Is there any guarantees? How are we sure that this won't end up just like the previous ones, previous efforts?
Now, if I'm going to tell you that we have all the guarantees in the world, then I'm not going to be any different from those who are there right now, who are lying to us. And we are saying, no, we don't have any guarantees. But what we want to show the world is that whatever you want to do in finding solutions is to get to the root of the problem. And in looking for solutions, when the people have generated the solutions themselves, then it is better you listen. We are going to have to turn over everything in terms of all our proposals and the big document we are going to come up with at the end of the day, which is going to be in public glare. It's not as if we are going to sit down somewhere and do it. No, we want the whole world to focus on us. In fact, I discussed with Dr. Afidifila, I want it would be nice to have Western Spring Television to cover everything we are going to do in Abuja live so that people can see. And after that, we will hand over a copy to Mr. President himself and tell him these are how to solve these problems. You will go down in history as the president who will listen to the people, who will look at what the people have produced and begin to work on it. Now, in the National Assembly, you'll be surprised that those who will chair the meeting in Abuja, one of them is a senator, and that is Senator Gbenga Daniel. And the other person is former Governor Tambuwal. Those are the two people that are partner with us all along. We hold meetings with all the time. We are going to co-chair this meeting in Abuja. And 50 senators are with us in this. Because if you look at what we are trying to do, it is not about serving anyone. It is not about Adejumo. It is not about Emeka Yoku. It is not about Professor Kila. It is not about Pauline Talen. It's not about Chief Mrs. Tokumba Odusumu. Those are all the people that have come together to say we must salvage, must save this country. It's about what the people want. Let them have it. Let's set this country straight. Otherwise, this terror thing we are looking at, this is how it starts. This is how it started in the DRC. In another 10 years, who will have thought, okay, 10 years ago, who will have thought that terror that people were shouting about and somebody was saying within 3 days of my coming to government in 2015, terror will go. Did it go? Now look at where terror has met us now. In 10 years, where do you think Nigeria will be if things continue this way? So some people still believe that there can be solutions. So when we are finished and the whole world is there to see and we have presented our case to Nigerians, we will give the National Assembly a copy. We will give the President a copy. And then we will not stop there. We will put up a committee among ourselves to liaise with the presidency and liaise with the National Assembly. And let me tell you something. If people are thinking, oh, what can the president do? The National Assembly is the one to do it. I will tell you no. There was a time we had a huge problem in this country, and that was a problem of the Niger Delta people. And the Constitution has said how much should be what to be derivable and given to them. They said no, they don't want. And then Mr. President Obasanjo said, I'll give you X. They said they still don't want. And then they went to court. And surprisingly, the court awarded the case on behalf of the federal government, that the federal government is the one that can determine. And Mr. President Obasanjo realized that, look, with this court case, there will not be peace. These people will go back to bombing all the oil installations. We won't even be able to export one drop of oil. So he called the Niger Delta people and said, look, I said X, you said Y. Court even reduced it, but let's agree on so percentage, which is not in the Constitution. And then he went to Mr. President now went to the National Assembly and told the National Assembly people, look, if we want peace in this country, let's do this. And Mr. President was able to get it through. In which case, it was not the National Assembly, it was the presidency that came in by way of intervention to save a very bad situation. Extrajudicial. Not even what the court said. So if a president is meaning to do the best by everyone, the president has enough influence to override in a very subtle way even the powers of the National Assembly and call everybody to order, such that they can say, this is time to salvage Nigeria.
Absolutely, Mogaji, absolutely. The president has a lot of power. But again, Mogaji, it is one thing to have the will. It is one thing to have the power. It's another thing to be able to do it. My question is, do you have faith? Do you have absolute confidence in the president and this current administration to do exactly that? To listen to the will of the people. You just gave an example, the case of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, how he had to intervene using his own wisdom, because he knew that there wouldn't be peace if he should just go with the ruling of the court. Now, you are putting in so much effort. I quite admire and commend, your motivation, because I was also going to ask, how are you getting your motivation? Are you being funded? That's another question. Are you being funded by anyone, or is it totally voluntary?
No one has funded the Southwest Patriots Group.
All right. So the real question is...
No, hold on, please. Yes. There's an important information I want to pass out.
All right.
God knows that no one has funded us. And in that same body of the Southwest Patriots Group is your own Reverend Canon Architect Oyego Keomiwodun. And he will tell you that everything we are doing, even the town hall meeting that we held, everything was self-funded. Between myself and my ESCO, we brought out the money to run it without asking anyone for one kobo, not even people outside, not even the influential people in the society, not even any state government. We did it all by ourselves, and we wanted to show the world that we don't have anything, we don't even work, none of us works for government. So nobody can say, oh, it is Owabu. It is from our own sweat, because we are dedicated to making it work. So right. That is one question. Now the other question about, do I have that confidence in Mr. President? I'm not going to talk about my own situation. It is about real politics that the Germans will call real politics. And I will explain. Mr. President and I are not after the same woman. I'm not after his own private estate. It's not a personal thing between him and myself. It's about him doing the right thing. So all I will say is I'm going to jettison whatever I have in terms of my own impression of Mr. President. I will say, okay, Mr. President, I went to radio, I went to television to say he was wrong in what he did in Rivers. He was extremely wrong. He had no right to sack any sitting governor. And no person had done it. If anybody wants to say it, I will take everybody up. Obasanjo never did it. Whatever I did to any governor, it was after that governor was impeached. Jonathan declared state of emergency in 3 states. Not even the local government was removed. So Mr. President had no right to do it. No constitution, even this constitution, as defective as it is, did not give him the right. But if Mr. President could do that in Rivers, if he thinks that that's the best thing for Rivers, then let him go into his own repository of wisdom to decide what is good for Nigeria. The same way you went outside of the known constitution. Oh, no, please, I'm not finished.
We are due for a break right now.
To do what he did, then he should do the same thing on this situation. Yes, please.
We are due for a break.
Sorry that I had to I just wanted to finish that sentence.
Please land,
please, go ahead.
Please land.
No, all I wanted to say is that if he could do that, and it's outside of the purview of the National Assembly, that should even be the oversight, that should even do the oversight thing on Rivers, then let him do this one the same way he used whatever powers he used in Rivers, let him do it about this one too.
All right. And we are due for a break right now. The conversation is still on. And I asked 2 questions the other time. You couldn't get to answer, but I will ask it again. So when you come back, you answer. This push, is it a product of a deeply thought out, deeply worked out research? That's number one. And number 2, you mentioned the issues of banditry and insurgency. How, for example, how is a brand new constitution going to fix that? You started it the other time, but I want you to land on it. But that will be after now. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. And we still have with us on the program Mani Badon High Chief, former World Bank consultant, and the Southwest chairman for the Patriots. The Patriots is a group of eminent men and women calling, for restructuring Nigeria, but in the constitutional way, a brand new constitution and what it is going to fix. here in Nigeria. And I asked him before the break, is this a baby of a word, well thought out, research? Because the word is scientific. We must, show it. It's not just a conjecture, not just a thought. Even when the feelings are noble, thought out, well thought out, worked out research work. That's number one. And how is a brand new constitution going to fix Nigeria? 2 questions. Mogaji, please go ahead.
Well, you're asking if it is well thought out. Of course, it has to be well thought out.
Let's product of a research.
Let's begin to examine what kind of a system are we running. A system where somebody would want to be governor, but that is not about him having the capacity or the ability, or perhaps even the mental composure. There are many things that are involved when you want to throw somebody up to be the governor or even the chairman of a local government, but all of that will be absent if one element is not there, and that is money. So what exactly are we going to expect when somebody would have to come up with like 6 to 10 billion naira to be governor? Are you expecting him to do so much? Where is he going to start from? He will start from recouping whatever investment, because the transaction that went into him wanting to be governor or wanting to be president. So if you want to be president today, and like somebody like Akinwumi Adesina, somebody has been saying, well, he should run for president. Where is he going to get that 2 trillion naira from? Those who have the money does not necessarily correspond to those who have the brains to do the job. So it is even a structure designed to fail. And that is why we are where we are today. If all that we are expecting is that something will come out of this system and structure that will make somebody to have so much money than even the state for him to be governor of the state, it is bound to fail. So if it is well thought out, of course it's well thought out. In the First Republic, Awolowo was premier from here to Asaba. And that is exactly what constitutes 8 states today. He was premier over 8 states. But did he have to campaign in Asaba to be premier? Did he have to campaign in Benin to be premier? Did he even have to campaign in Ibadan to be premier? Hell no. All he needed to do was be elected from his Remo division. And that's what we are saying. That's what we are saying. We want to banish the idea of money politics.
All right. So the second question, sir. How is the Constitution going to fix the issue of this endemic insurgency that we are battling with?
Because we are going to change the Constitution from the federal system back to the parliamentary system. That is why we said we need a brand new Constitution, not the one that you want to patch a tire that has 200 punctures. In this 1999 Constitution, we need a brand new structure and a brand new system. So it is not about patching or reforming. It's about the brand new one that takes us back to where money is not the issue.
All right, Mogaji. Let's talk about.
And that is just one of the things that we thought about before coming together to say we must salvage Nigeria. We cannot continue this way.
All right, Mogaji. Let's talk about the crux of the matter. Let's talk about your agenda, the Patriots, the most suitable form of government, the most suitable system of government for Nigeria. Is it a presidential or a parliamentary or a mixed system? So what exactly are you pushing for? Because that's the crux of the matter for your agenda, the Patriots in this summit. So are you pushing for a mixed system, or are you saying it's just a parliamentary system that you prefer? So what should we expect from you?
Us of the Southwest, what we are pushing for is a parliamentary system and back to regionalism. Regionalism does not mean that everybody is going back to Ibadan. Hell no. Like in 2014, one of my leaders from Ekiti, I don't want to mention his name, he said, oh, we Ekiti, we are not going back to Ibadan. Papa Debanjo said, okay, would you rather you carry your plates every month and be going to Abuja? If Abuja is better than coming to Ibadan, then good luck to you. That was the end of that rant. Some people say, look, all that we know is that what am I saying? 5/6 over 5 parts out of 6 parts of the present Lagos state was in the western region. So which one is Geribele Co-op? But the truth is this, we will maintain the same structure of the states, but we would have a central regional government. And the reason is very simple. Allow all of these governors, they will be building airports. Airports. Do I want to go from Ibadan to Osogbo and I want to fly? Why would I want to do that? If I which pilot want to do the one that he gets up, the next moment...
sorry, Magaji. Sorry to cut in, Magaji.
Hold on, please.
Is there anyone restricting governors from building airports at this time? I'm sorry to cut in there. Is there any restriction on governors?
You see, the point is this. You want growth. You want stability. You want eradication of insecurity. And you want your... even food insecurity, you want to have food security. Then somebody from Ekiti must be able to transport his yams to Shagamu in peace. If you want to go by road, many things can happen. But if you go by train, which is the universal way of ferrying goods all over the world, then let's have a rail network around the whole of the Southwest, such that it is going to be seamless to say you want to take goods from one place or yam or farm produce from one place to the other. And in record time, what a trailer will take, maybe 2-3 days, if it has a breakdown or if bandits waylay them on the road, or maybe even the driver trying to sell some of this stuff. A train will carry what 100 trailers will carry, and in less than 6 hours. That is the point we are trying to make. But who is going to tell all these governors to say, okay, let's sit down. Don't let us be building airports. One in Shagamu, one in Ibadan, one in Osogbo, one in Ekiti. Abba, is that what we need? Do you know how much goes into building an airport and to maintain it? Let's have a railway network that will ease all this trouble. Look, a friend of mine wanted to go from Lagos to Ibadan yesterday, and he spent 7 hours on the road. So we need to prioritize what we are doing.
All right, Magaji. The question is this. You've made it clear that the Southwest, that you are pushing for a parliamentary system of government. If you look at a country, a nation like the United States, for instance, which is running arguably the most successful democracy in the world right now, they are operating the presidential system. So how exactly, Magaji, do you think a parliamentary system of government in Nigeria would solve the plethora of problems we are having currently?
Well, maybe you should look at Yugoslavia and look at Switzerland. Both were practicing about the same time federalism. Why did it fail in Yugoslavia? It failed so woefully in Yugoslavia because of the fact that they are just like us. They are heterogeneous in Yugoslavia. They were speaking about 10 languages. They had different ethnicities, and they had different ideas and socio-cultural background. And then they had internal feuds, and they had intertribal feuds, and it collapsed, just like it is collapsing in Nigeria. Federalism. But look at Switzerland. Switzerland is mostly homogeneous, and all they are after is how to make sure that there is so much in terms of economic growth for each of the regions. In fact, the regions are doing so much trade among themselves in Yugoslavia that even the rest of Europe could not match the amount of trade between one region and the other. And it's the same federalism. It can suit some people, it may not suit some people. In America that you mentioned, every American state has its own military. Go and check out what I've just said. They have their own militia. Every American city has its own police. Their county, they have their sheriff. In the state, they have the state police. Apart from that, they still have the FBI. So you have LAPD, Los Angeles, whatever. In which case, even in America, with all that they have,
all right,
the kind of presidential system they have, each level is funding itself. The local government funds itself. There's no federal government that is paying any local governments.
All right.
The state police, they fund themselves. And let me even tell you something. All that we make in Nigeria as of today, every year, we have not even made $30 billion in any year. Go and check it out. Since Nigeria started even earning from oil, we have not made $30 billion. The average is between 25 and 28 billion. That's what we make.
All right.
But that is, hold on, please. That is not even the budget of New York City fire department.
All right.
Just talking about city. I'm not even talking of state.
All right.
So that's to tell you that we are not rich enough to even maintain the presidential system of governance. We are not.
All right. Now,
even with that, the presidential system of government allows for those who are going to steal Nigeria dry.
All right. Mokaji, you have talked about the prospect and what it can do and all of those things. Let's talk about the challenges it might encounter, this proposal of the Patriots. Now, you have established in your introduction and your submissions, that there are people benefiting from the current arrangement as we currently have, either legitimately, with whatever they have, and the system is skewed against the people and for some persons, not just for the generality of the people. And so you have talked almost an hour on the prospect. Let's talk about the challenges that it might have. Now, these people that are benefiting, you don't expect them to just stand down, do you? Now, let's talk about the political class. How will you manage the Patriots and the conversation and the summit, and when the push come to shove now, how will these pass through? How will you manage the political class that might not want to let go? There are people with ambition who are currently waiting. There are people with investment, so-called investment, in the past in a particular candidate, and they are waiting for the for the return. There are people that have been funding, some courses, and they are waiting by 2027 is going to be my turn. In 2031 is going to be my turn. You are now saying that we should jettison all of that so that Nigeria can move forward, especially the political class. How do you intend to manage them?
Okay, when is it going to be the turn of the people? When is it going to be the turn of the people?
That's what I'm asking. There are people that will not allow this to be. How do you break through?
You see, in the wise sayings of the Yoruba, it is said that those who want to extract honey from the core of the rock, they must not begin to look at the damage done to the axe. By the time you are going to look at it and say, oh, my axe is going to get spoiled, then you won't ever get to the honey. If you are going to be looking at and hearing the concerns of the so-called elite who have eaten Nigeria dry, look, these people are like leeches. They are like egbon or epa, this flea that eats on the flesh and sucks on the blood of dogs. The flea actually thinks, oh, I'm sucking the blood, I'm eating, I'm getting free bees from the dog. But when the dog dies, is the flea not going to die? So are we going to allow them to that's why
I asked that question. Mogaji, how do you intend to manage them?
You are not allowing me to answer you. Please.
No, because of time, we have to get there, because these are the same people at the National Assembly.
What we need to focus upon, we have done that, and that is the people. We from all the 6 zones. This is not about the Southwest. We have gone to the people. We have taken this thing to the people. To tell you the truth, I don't even know how I was chosen. I was even checked. Somebody who said, oh, I'm on the committee. And I went to check and I found my name there. When we now met at the national level, they had already prepared who are going to be the chairman. Why would they choose me? So I want to begin with saying that maybe the idea is, let's get the right kind of people to push this thing forward. If they had brought a fraudulent person who has been eating all his life from government, maybe it won't work. But I want to believe that all of us that have been chosen are chosen as an example. If all that we are trying to do is to help the common man, and the proposal is about what the people want, what about the people power? When we are done with it and we have submitted the proposals, we are not going to stop. We are going to continue to converse at every level that people should support what we are trying to do, because it's about them. It is high time it's boils down to the fact that the people of this country must be taken into consideration. And we will never stop. We will never go away. We will continue to be a disturbance to them, this same so-called elite, and call them out.
All right.
Until such a time the people are ready to get up and say, this is exactly what we want. It's either this or nothing.
All right. All right, Mogaji. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking right now, that you do not face so much opposition and obstacles from the ruling class and, of course, the National Assembly. So let's just assume that you get the full cooperation of all organs of government. Mogaji, how soon do you think we can have these documents? And how soon do you think it can be implemented? That's assuming that everything sails smoothly.
Well, we in the Southwest, we are done with the document. We've cross-checked. We've called lawyers to look at it. We've called stakeholders to look at it. And we've been told that it is a superlative document. Just like somebody said, it's a big, beautiful document that represents everything, the yearnings of the Yoruba. The Yoruba, like I said, Yorubas have always had a position right from 1994. There had been documents right from 1994. That was a document we took to the 2014 confab. That is the same document we took to the 2017 Ibadan Declaration. So we are only working on that document to allow for other things to happen. Okay, let me tell you something about that same document. Before we finished the the Southwest document, we got in touch with those in the Middle Belt, and we told them we want our kinsmen in Kogi. There are 21 local governments in Kogi, but 6 actually are of pure Yoruba. There are 16 local governments in Kwara, 12 of which are pure Yoruba. We want these 6 in Kogi, and we want these 12 in Kwara to be part of us. Either they are going to form a state together or what, but we just want them to be part of us. And we got across to the leaders of Yoruba in those areas, in Kogi and Kwara, to put something together and take to the Middle Belt so that it can be part of their own submission. At least we got that through. So there's supposed to be, and we are having and working on it, there's supposed to be some kind of synergy between the zones so that we can do what we call horse trading. What we want in the Southwest, what you want in the Southeast. Let's agree with what you want, agree with what we want. So we are going to, all of us are going there with all of these proposals, which will now be put together into one document. And that document is not going to remain with us. We are going to publish it for the whole nation to see. We are going to give a copy to Mr. President. We are going to give a copy to the National Assembly. And then the real work of having to devise a means and methodology of getting this document to become our constitution will begin.
All right, Mogaji, can we have a time frame? I mean, can we have a time frame, just so to speak?
The only time frame is that you follow us to Abuja on the 13th of July, when we start the National Summit. Right. We have not even put an end to it, but we are starting on the 15th, so to say. But we'll gather on the 13th, and 15th we'll start. So whenever we finish with that and we submit, then the real work, just like I said, the real work of pushing it through begins. And we are mindful of something. It is 2 years to 2027. Right. Now, many things are going on, coalition here, coalition there. We are not interested. We are actually politically agnostic. Politically agnostic. We do not follow any political party. We are not for any candidate. We are only for Nigeria. All right. So being politically agnostic simply means that what we are looking at is how to change the system between now and 2027.
We have to go. We more sincerely thank you. I wanted to ask that question before, that these coalitions and alignment going on everywhere, there are some of them that have been talking about some of the things that you are talking about, especially restructuring, devolution of power, and all of those things. Now, if some of those people will say we are interested in this conversation, would they be allowed?
We will welcome anyone who wants to partner with us. All right. But we will not be politically sensitive to any political party that will want to just use us.
All right.
I will explain.
All right.
Even the ruling party has their number one clause that says that they must restructure Nigeria. They've been there now for more than 10 years. Have they restructured Nigeria?
All right.
So we are not going to deal with anyone with a sweet mouth. We are not dealing with promises of the political nature that will never get done. We are not here to come and deceive the people. We are not a political party.
Boyegade Juma, the Southwest Chairman of the Patriots, we most sincerely thank you, and we wish you, the Patriots, in fact, every Nigerian, all the best. Thank you, Magaji.
Thank you so very much.
All right. Yeah, that will be the size of the program for today and for the week. And we are ending on a high. It's Salah Day. Let's go, enjoy ourselves and celebrate, do some visitation and, pray together, care for one another, and express the love in the littlest of way. Femi Ojo is my name. I'll see you on Monday. God bless Nigeria.
Yeah, and absolutely thank you for joining us once again. And Emeka Daniel is my name. And just like Magaji said, he called it a big, beautiful document. Let's just hope we do not have an Elon Musk who will also kick against it at the last minute. Do join us again next week for fresh editions of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Do have a wonderful weekend. Good morning.